Hi guys, my name's Lizzie Tupman. If you haven't been on my channel before, I'm mainly a musician, but I'm uploading 3 videos a week now, and usually the last one is going to be a review. This is only the second one, so I'm just kind of guessing. So I've had a bit of a on and off again relationship with The Killers. I originally was obsessed with them, then I hated them for a while because of that line, "Are we human or are we dancers?" I don't know, it just really grinded my gears. And about 5 years ago, my friend took me to see them live, and since then I've just kind of admitted that I really like them. They're currently probably one of my favourite bands, and 2 months ago they released a new album called Wonderful Wonderful. So the cover I uploaded this week is not from this album, but I really wanted to cover the song Spaceman. I was thinking about covering Run for Cover instead, which is from this album because I love that song, but I just ended up deciding on Spaceman, and then I still wanted to review this album, so I'm just going to go straight in with giving this album, I'm going to say a 6 out of 10, which doesn't mean that I don't love it, but if I'm comparing things like American Idiot would obviously be a 10 out of 10 for me, maybe like a 6.5 or a 7 for this album. I don't think it's the best Killers album, and for me with The Killers, they always have a few songs that I'm like completely in love with that make me love The Killers like so much, but the rest of it just, it's not my favourite kind of genre. It's always really nice and beautiful, I always love the lyrics, but it's just not something that I'd like smash out and listen to again and again. I love seeing them live though. Second time seeing them live was a couple of weeks ago, and I nearly missed it because my head's just been like not with it at the moment, and I completely forgot what day it was, but I ended up getting there just in time for the first song, or technically the second song. So the first track on this album is the title track, which is Wonderful Wonderful. So this intro track sounds kind of cool. I like the bass line. It reminds me of a lot of British rock that's going on right now. It's not my favourite kind of song. I'm not keen on the effects that are going on in the vocals, and it just feels a bit kind of drony and hazy. It feels kind of like one of those songs that would be played through a tunnel, if that makes any sense. Feels like it doesn't really have any kind of climax. It just feels a little bit like repetitive. The second song, The Man, which was the first one I heard, I actually heard for the first time on the radio and instantly was kind of obsessed with it. It's just a feel-good song. It could have been easily taken as like a really misogynistic song, but I don't think that many people would expect that from Brandon Flowers' songwriting and lyrics, and I think luckily the video showed that that wasn't the way the song was intended. If you haven't watched the video yet, check it out, you'll know what I mean. It's got a nice funky guitar riff all the way throughout. I love the part towards the end with the big fame. That's like my favourite part. It's a really good sing-along song and I just love it. For Rut, I've got that it's just a nice sweet song. It's got beautiful vocals, it's really poetic. On my notes I've wrote poetic AF. Usually The Killers lyrics are really poetic, and I just think they put so much into the lyrics. Like a lot of bands use a lot of cop-outs, like doing a lot of whoa-whoas, or like just not putting in a middle eight. And I feel like with The Killers they always not only put a lot into the verses and the chorus, but they usually have a really interesting middle eight or outro as well. They change the structure around a little bit and always just have a few little surprises. Life to Come was similar to my taste as Rut. That was probably like the weirdest constructed sentence I've ever said. Yeah, it's just a similar kind of like nice song, nice vocals, nice lyrics. I feel like this one might be released as a single because it's got one of those really big sing-along choruses, kind of like it's just very The Killers. It reminds me of I've got soul but I'm not a soldier, that kind of thing. Run for Cover is my favourite song. It's so catchy. I love the lyrics in the verses. Apparently Brandon Flowers wrote the first verse to this song like years ago, back in like 2009 or something. I can't even remember, or 2012. Anyway, I got this information from the Genius website and it just was dead interesting to me. So yeah, he wrote the lyrics for the first verse ages ago, and he said that like he loved that verse so much that he couldn't match it until he got some help from an Australian songwriter that he knows. And yeah, I can actually really understand that because there's just a lot. It's like, so it's almost like a really good rap. It's kind of like something that Eminem would probably be able to come up with. Yeah, other than the fact that it's got really good lyrics, it's got a really good tune all the way through, nice bass line as usual with the Killers. The vocal melody in the chorus just seems perfect to me, and then in the second chorus I think they add a bit more guitar, which just like melts in perfectly with the vocals and everything else that's going on. They have a really big finish on the last chorus. It feels like there's a line in the middle eight or the bridge going into the last chorus, which is big smile, fake news, run for cover, you've got nothing else to lose. I love that part. Yeah, I just think it's pretty much a perfect song for the Killers. Tyson versus Douglas. This is a part of the album which seems to go in a bit more of an 80s route. Reminded me a little bit of the 1975, their newest album. Analog synth. My boyfriend told me to mention that because it made me look clever. Yeah, this could have been like on the soundtrack for The Breakfast Club. It just sounds really 80s to me. I do quite like it. It's not my favourite, but it's good. The song Out of My Mind is another nice one. It's not like crazy. Nothing really stands out to me that much. I'd sing along to it and listen to it, definitely. I just love this. The whole feel of this album is something that's really like feel good. Like I'd always probably sing along or have it on, but it's not like the most intense record or something that I would probably like remember for decades kind of thing. The Colin is another one that's probably might be my second favourite after Run for Cover. It has a bit of like a religious quote in the intro. It sounds like it's from a movie, and it sounds like the voice of, I always forget his name, but he's a huge actor. He was in Adventureland and The Hunger Games. But I don't actually know where it's from. It's got a bit of like a cowboy vibe. It sounds really dark. It's got a really good bass line all the way through and a bit of like a driving drum beat. Sounds like something that Lady Gaga would write. One of her darker songs. Yeah, I love this one. I didn't expect this song from the Killers. It just has a bit more going on. It's a bit different to the other songs on this album. That's why it's one of my favourites. The last song on the album is Have All the Songs Been Written? Did I say that right? Yeah. Another interesting story behind this one from the Genius app. Apparently the title came from writer's block, basically. Apparently Brandon Flowers was having some trouble writing songs, and he emailed Bono from U2, and the title of the email was apparently Have All the Songs Been Written, and he said, well, start there. It sounds like a good song title. So yeah, he started there, and I think it went in a bit more of a personal direction. After that, that's just the way I feel about the song. I don't actually know exactly what it's about from like Brandon Flowers' mouth, but there's this line, when the train returns to the rails, when the ship is back in the harbour, I will make you happy again, I can see it, I believe it. But that could also be interpreted as him talking to his fans and being like, I'll be able to bring you good music and make you happy again, like I can see it, I believe it. But to me it just felt kind of like he was trying to like fix a broken marriage or something like that. That's just, maybe it's a bit of both. So yeah, this is a beautiful song. Not something I'm going to listen to every day because it's a bit one of the more intense songs, kind of emotionally, but I love it. So yeah, for my personal taste, I'm going for like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. Not entirely positive, but yeah, it's not one of the most amazing albums I'm ever going to hear, but there's nothing I dislike about it really. It's just, you know, it's pretty good. Run for Cover, The Colin, and probably The Man are my favourite songs. I enjoy listening to all of it. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the album. Leave a comment down there. If you like what I do on this channel, you can support me in a few different ways. Links in the description. You could share this video. You could buy my EP if you have some money for that, or my t-shirt. Whatever you want. Thank you very much for coming to my channel and watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again on Monday.